Yo, what's up everybody? It's Drewberry. I'm back with another custom card review. Apologies for yesterday. I was delayed. I just wanted to take a night off, so I postponed it to today. But we did start the challenge yesterday in the Berryverse Discord, so definitely jump in there. I got the link in the description. You can create a card right there because this week's challenge is all about cards. It's about the keyword win. So this is winning, winners, win, anything around winning, you can use it in your card. And then post one submission in the weekly challenge channel. If you post multiple, just go back and delete the old ones. And then also if you can make the background transparent, that helps me out a bunch. There are no bad submissions. Everybody has creative ideas that they want to share. So let's always give thumbs up in the weekly challenge channel when somebody posts something. And I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. But last week we were challenged with locations. Now this had a few variations. You could have either made a custom location or a custom card that makes a custom location or a custom card that makes a location that's actively in the game. I've got a bit of a mix of all of those to show you guys here today. So I'm excited to show you. Let's get to it. Okay, but first we have mine, and it's kind of silly. I don't know. It was the first thing I thought of when I wanted to make a custom location, and it is kaboom! Destroy this location. So the way I envision this is the locations reveal on turn 1, 2, and 3, right? And the way I see this working is it would just straight up explode. You wouldn't even see this. This is like placeholder art because there has to be something in place for that location, right? But it would never actually show this in game. The location would literally just explode. Like think like Galactus explosion. Well, on reveal, it would just go boom. So it's like, oh, I guess that was kaboom. And again, this would be like a super rare location, you know, like world ship, that kind of thing. So it's world ship, but just half. So you still have 2 locations to fight for, but you could maybe pump power out in one location, you know, till all the way to the top, and then it's about the tiebreaker, that sort of thing. So I just thought this would be cool. I think it'd be pretty fun. That little like surprise factor of like, I guess it's that kind of game now. But funny enough, so I made this very early on in the challenge. And there's a winner here. In fact, number 1 who won this week that did something similar, but I like it so much better. But I couldn't come up with anything else. I still like this one quite a bit. It works with Death, Null, Wolverine, obviously. But for the most part, it's just going to surprise blow up any cards that you accidentally put there on the unrevealed location, which is hilarious. But yeah, that's mine. Let's get to the top 10. Number 10, Mookie Blaylock's Alter Ego. All right, Alter Ego. So we don't need a lot of locations like this one, but I think this is pretty cool actually. So Alter Ego, playing on Ego, who takes over your cards and plays them. Well, now you switch sides with your opponent on turn 4 only, right? So we know this is only turn 4 because Krakoa has the same text on turn 5. Game takes over, etc., etc. Alter Ego is going to, on turn 4, switch sides with your opponent. So you're going to flip, basically like turn the board around. You can either play the cards in your opponent's hand, essentially giving them power more than likely, or Alter Ego will take over at the end of the turn and play out the energy, the curve, whatever's available, unless maybe nothing's available. And I like this a lot because now it's still a little bit strategic, right? You know that's coming up, so you can, you know, play cards beforehand to lead up to that moment to give your opponent maybe only good things to play, and then Ego takes over and plays something good. But the other side that's like competitive and strategic is like, okay, what's the worst possible play I can make with my opponent's hand? What will screw them for turns 5 and 6? Like, let's just find ways to that. The first thing that came to my mind was, if I set up Cosmo early on my side of the board and then I get my opponent's hand, I'm going to play their on reveals in my Cosmo lane. Perfect. They don't get that value. That sort of thing. Another one could be Wave, right? You could wave, and if you only have good cards in your hand and it goes over to your opponent, well, they're going to have to play one of those good cards like Magneto, a bunch of 6-drops, or Ego will, and you really don't lose out in any of those scenarios. If your opponent just straight up doesn't play, because I think a lot of people would do that, well, then Ego has a pretty good chance of playing one of those 6-drops. And then lastly, I thought maybe Leader would be really good. I know I have the old stat line. Apologies, I haven't updated it yet. But with Leader, you know, you copy whatever your opponent did later on, right? So maybe on turn 4, they like screwed you, but then turn 5, you claw back a little bit, and then turn 6, you get to play Leader and salvage it a little bit. I don't know. It was hard to think of like combinations with this location, but I think it'd be pretty fun. It seems, you know, like one of the more fun locations where things take over and you don't get to play your deck. Like it's only one turn, etc., etc. So I thought this was pretty cool. Thank you for submitting. Number 9, Abscence, Khonshu. All right, so we got Khonshu back here. 3-1 on reveal. Change your location with your lowest power total into the moon. That's why I like this card so much. And then what does it do? What is the moon? When a card is discarded, give the lowest card or cards 3 power. Now that's not specific to any one side, so if the lowest power card happens to be on your opponent's side and you're doing the discarding, then you're giving them the buffs, which isn't so great, but you probably have built a deck to somehow capitalize on that, right? What I like about this is we have a lot of cards actively in Snap that change locations, but it has to be the one that they're played at. It's on reveal, change this location. I like the concept of on reveal, change a location based on a condition. And in this instance, it's the lowest power total that's out there. So perhaps there's a location that you want to change, but you don't want to play your Khonshu there. You want to play other things to maybe stack power, take advantage of the location that you have thus changed into. And then, so you play them elsewhere, but you don't play power at that location. You save it, right? So it's your lowest power thing, played power elsewhere, and then you still have that control of changing the location that you want, but you can still play cards there after. It's an empty location that you can take advantage of. I don't know. I thought that was really clever. And then also just playing on the lowest power stuff, and then a little bit of discard. I feel like that's just like a splash in there for the Moon Knight synergy, which is pretty cool. And we got the Berry Knight there. Let's go. So good synergy there. Discard a card from your hand, your opponent's. That's +6. To whatever's the lowest thing, probably +3 at a time, so it could be 2 separate minions there, but you get the idea. That's +6 power out there off of 1 Moon Knight discard, so that's pretty awesome. So very cool card. I love the idea, that little twist that you had there on changing the location, so thank you for submitting. Number 8, Infernite's Hell. Oh man, okay, this one's pretty cool. So if you don't know, on the bottom left there, we have a card named Mephisto. This is a data mine card. It's been data mined since the dawn of Snap, and it is a 6/0. If you win this game, double your winnings, which is just wild, right? And winnings, we're referring to cubes. So if you won an 8-cuber, you get 16 cubes. You're flying up the ladder. Well, Hell is kind of taking advantage of that and playing on that card. If you win this location and win the game, double your winnings. What I like about this is it's not just about winning the game. You have to find a way to win the game, but also win the Hell location, which might not be easy because your opponent's probably thinking the same thing. I gotta win this location because I want to rack up these cubes. And all of a sudden, you and your opponent are going hard at this one location just to win it, get the double winnings, but then possibly end up throwing because you didn't put enough power elsewhere, and then you can, like, I don't know, somehow trick them. That's why I thought Omega Red would be really good. You do the Omega Red Iron Man Onslaught combo, gets you a bunch of power at Hell, but it also gives you a little bit of whipping power over to the other 2 locations. So I thought that could be a pretty good combo. Iron Man, of course, is just super good if you're looking to win one location, right? Sometimes you get Enchantress, but I think that's few and far between. For the most part, you're getting like crazy value out of Iron Man. And then Mephisto himself, dude. Like, why not triple up your winnings, or however that works? Let's just get all the cubes in this single game. See what max cubes we could get. Moon Girl, Mephisto, Mr. Negative, and all that double Mephisto plus Hell. Boom. Change Hell with Legion to all 3 locations are Hell, and you win all 3. I don't even know, dude. The potential, the cube potential from all of these is just through the charts, but obviously that's like impossible combinations right there, but still really fun to think about. And lastly, the only other thing that I wasn't too sure about this is, do you lose double because you gave double, right? Cubes are all about giving and taking. If there's somebody who won 8-cuber, and there's somebody that lost 8 cubes. So does Hell double the loss? I imagine not. I think you just lose a natural amount, but the winning player will just get like a double at the end. So that little end screen, you get your boosters, you get your cubes. It's just going to go bam, because of Hell, like a little animation, you get double. That's how I'd hope it'd work anyways, but very cool Infernite. Well done. Number 7, Max Beam 16s, the Beyonder. All right, a lot of people submitted the Beyonder, and I just really like this one in particular. And a lot of people use it with Battle World, which makes sense. That's all about this character. But we've covered that before. This one I thought was a little bit more interesting for me. So 2/3 ongoing at the end of each turn, replace this location with a random new one. So you just keep cycling locations over and over and over and over again. And like, think about the things that could happen. Squirrel Girls, not Squirrel Girl, but Central Park pops up, and then a bunch of squirrels go flying. Monster Island and a monster pops out. Onslaught Citadels and your ongoings are doing crazy things, but then it's Camartage and you played a non-reveal, and then all those on-reveals have, it's just constantly churning out and throwing over. And let's say you find a location that you like. I think this is my favorite part. You find a location that you're satisfied with, you play Enchantress. Like a location that really helped you out. Like it could be like Altar of Death, or like one of those that you can't really get power there anymore, and then you play Enchantress and you remove the ongoing tag. Maybe you lose Enchantress in the interim, but at least you locked it in. So I thought that would be pretty cool. But for the most part, this is just chaos. This is absolute chaos. Not to mention, you could also play this on turn 2. It could cycle into TVA. I imagine that would trigger. I don't know. It says at the end of each turn, so I guess this would probably take place before TVA's check takes place, so maybe that's okay. But then what about Limbo? I guess you wouldn't have a turn 7. That would be like a bait. You just have to know that the Beyonder is always going to flip past Limbo. Oh my gosh, just crazy. The implications here are really fun, and the variants, fantastic. This looks like a Marvel Snap card. Look at how good this is. This is a character that I'm sure is going to come to Snap. For sure at some point, and I would really like to see it look like this. So well done. Number 6, Wally Goosehead's The Council of Reeds. All right, this one's really cool. Again, dipping into that tap mechanic that will be coming to Marvel Snap, but is not actively in the game yet. Tap this location for +1 max energy next turn. If only one player taps this location, that player skips their next draw instead. Wow, that is wild, dude. So basically, you don't know if they tapped it. It's kind of like, I don't even know how to describe it. I guess it's not really like snapping, because you see that your opponent snapped right away. It's just a bit of a gamble. It's just it's almost like if an opponent plays Storm. Okay, there's a Storm location, and then you're thinking, oh my gosh, are they gonna play there? Are they gonna play there? Or are you like, what should I do? Should I play there or not? And you just don't know until the reveal. And that's what would happen with the Council of Reeds. It's gonna pop up. You can both be like, yeah, let's go for max energy. That'd be great. But you run such a crazy risk in just letting it slide, because missing your draw is such a big deal. But there's a few crazy implications. Darkhawk, maybe you're running a Darkhawk deck, you put Darkhawk, and your opponent really wants that max energy. They're like, I gotta get to my Sandman yesterday. Please, I need this energy. So they keep tapping. They're satisfied with their hand. They're gonna keep tapping. They're gonna keep skipping their draw, and their deck is getting fat. So you just Darkhawk, and then you get a bunch of value because of it, right? And you never click on the Council of Reeds. Because here is the thing. I think almost every time, except for the odd savage that spams the snap emote because they want you to tap this, nobody's going to tap it. Everyone's just going to let it slide, and just because they don't want to take the risk. People don't want to take the risk. They're trying to climb in the ranks. So I feel like it would just slip to the wayside. But there's a couple of other synergies with that. Maybe you do want to break your draws. So have you ever had this happen where you play Mr. Negative, but you don't want to draw the things, or you already have Mr. Negative in your hand? You don't want to draw like Iron Man or anything like that. You please, I want to negatize this deck, then I want to draw them. Okay, so I have Negative in the opening hand. I keep clicking this. My opponent doesn't. I keep breaking my draw. No draw. I finally get Negative out, and then I stop. Okay, I'm happy. I want to draw my cards. I negatize them. Perfect. And then I play Jane Foster or something like that. Boom, I get all those cards. That'd be wild. Or Crystal value. Yeah, I missed out on a few draws. Doesn't matter. I played the cards that were available in my hand, and then bam, on turn 4, I play Crystal, and I cycle in a new 3 cards, and I still go for that max energy, because why not? I'm happy with my draw. Because I believe it's just the draw that you do at the beginning of a turn, not for the entire turn if I do any draw through my own means. So I thought that was pretty cool. Couple cool synergies, really cool idea for a location. The only thing that held me back is I feel like people just won't play into it. They just won't tap Council of Reeds, but it'd be really fun if they did. Number 5, Aya's Time's Forgotten Hollow. All right, so the Time's Forgotten Hollow is after this location is filled, end the game. Nice and simple. I love this. I think it's so great. And now the key thing to think of here, my first thought was what? That's going to be so quick. I just play 4 cards. The game ends. I probably have taken advantage of that. I got a bunch of power there, but no, it's about the location filling entirely. So a couple cool synergies I was thinking is that gives stuff kind of deck. You throw over the Goblin, you throw over rocks with debris, that kind of thing, and then maybe you run the Hazmat Luke Cage combos and you try to get less power at their end, and you probably win the Time's Forgotten Hollow. But again, then you have to find ways to win the other locations because your opponent might be committing power elsewhere. So it gets a bit tricky. I feel like you just never know when the game's going to end. It could end on a dime, and then maybe you didn't get to your power play that you were looking to do. Aggressive decks probably benefit at first glance, but I fill it up with 4 cards. If my opponent's doing the Sandman shenanigans, they're not playing a whole lot. They're waiting. And then it might not get filled until turn 6 unless I do something about it. So I think almost in a lot of scenarios, this is almost a difficult condition to meet. It might not actually have implications on the game, but it's going to keep you on the edge of your seat, right? You're going to be thinking it could end at any time. At any time, if I have this full, they could just like brood or something like that and be like, bam, I'm satisfied. Let's just end it right here, right now. And I love that little bit of a showdown idea. I thought it was really, really cool. And I love how it's simple. So it's just something I could see being in the game. It's almost like a little bit of a better TVA. In a way, right? TVA, you know it's coming. But sometimes when it's the third location that flips, you're just like, oh, okay, I guess that's it. Whereas this keeps you on the edge of your seat, exciting, pretty neat. Imagine hitting this like on a Scarlet Witch or something like that on turn 5 and both the locations filled and all of a sudden it happens and the game ends. Like, that'd be wild. That'd be such a highlight moment. Very cool, Aya. Very cool. Number 4, Dawreck's Khonshu, the Living Mummy. All right, so Khonshu here is a 3/3 on reveal. Change this location to the Sahara Desert. So the Sahara Desert is if you play a card here, you cannot play any other cards this turn. I thought that was pretty neat. It's like almost like if a card could create Sanctum Sanctorum. But let me explain Sahara Desert. And Dawreck was even saying, like, I don't understand why it's so complicated. I don't think it's all that complicated. I hope I get it right, honestly. But the way this works, Sahara Desert, right? So if I got my cards in my hand. I'm ready to play my cards out, okay? I play a card at Sahara Desert, okay? We play a card there. All of a sudden, the sand picks up and it starts hitting my hand and I can't play anything, right? That's the animation Sandman gives. So there you go, okay? So then I can't play anything. Okay, let's undo all of our actions because we can do that. And then I got my cards back in my hand. And then I'm going to play a card outside of the Sahara Desert. We're going to play like on the far right or something. Sand pops up again, boom. But this time it's covering the Sahara Desert. I can't play there anymore. It won't let me. So that's the idea, okay? So if I play a card there first, I can't play anything else. And if I play a card off of it, I can't play there. That's it. That's just how it works. It locks it up. It makes it tricky. It makes it tricky to play multiple cards in a turn. All of a sudden, you're a little bit restricted. And then if you got other locations like Sanctum Sanctorum, Altar of Death, all those kind of things that are really restrictive on your plays, it gets really difficult to get power out there and get cards. But you chose to do it. That's kind of the cool part. In Khonshu, you played it. Your deck might be built around it. Maybe you got this baby land shark chilling who doesn't care about Sandman or any of those kind of effects, and you can still play Jeff at the Sahara Desert if you play elsewhere, or you can still play Jeff elsewhere if you play at the Sahara Desert. I thought that's pretty cool. You stack that with Professor X. Happy days. The artwork looks so good. I love the colors that you have used, and the idea is really great. Thank you, Dawreck. That's awesome. Number 3, Leo CD's The Regular Couple. Okay, these top 3 are just so good. This one just floored me. I love it because Regular Couple, come on, it's Vision and Scarlet Witch, like when they're in WandaVision. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's such a good throwback. Excellent idea. I love the idea of just calling them Regular Couple. That's great. But to top it all off, at the start of the game, change all locations to Westview. Now, normally that would probably be pretty toxic, changing all the locations, right? Like there's some that have established, I don't know, the way the course of the action of the game is going to take, right? Like that's usually what locations are there to do. If it's Onslaught Citadel, I got to be concerned about that. If it's Camartage, I got to be concerned about that. If it's Sanctum Sanctorum, I'm not going to be able to play there. So there you go. Like it dictates the pace of the game. Well, Regular Couple basically says, nope, we're going to refresh. We're going to refresh all the locations. Just going to play this. And then on turn 4, we're all going to get a brand new set of locations. Now, here's the other thing about the Regular Couple, right? We could refresh it. We could change it to Westview and get a bunch of brand new locations on turn 4. That's great if we play it before turn 4. Now, what happens if we play it on turn 5 or 6? Well, I'll tell you, it's just going to make all the locations Westview. And that's it. It's not going to change again because it turns into a new location on turn 4. If it's turn 5, it's not turn 4. That's how these turn timers work with the locations. So you'd basically just say, yeah, we're not going to look at the bonuses, the buffs, the negatives, anything like that from these locations. Let's just make it flat. Let's see who's got the most power. You, me, Let's go. And I think that's pretty cool too. So works that way, works perfectly with the Westview, switching up all the locations and getting a refresh. I think this is a super fun card. Maybe a little bit broken because it's like, you look at Scarlet Witch, she's a 2/3. She targets one location. This is doing it to all three. Like that's kind of wild. Maybe it should be a 3/3 or something along those lines. But I feel like that was done for the Scarlet Witch stat line, which is just really cool. And then Snow Guard, right? Synergy's there a little bit. You could just, I don't know, stop things from happening. Maybe they're about to flip on turn 4, and then you use the Hawk, I think it is, to stop all the location effects. I don't even know. I've never seen this card in game before, but I thought, hey, it works with locations, so why not? Number 2, Fran's Gwenpool. Oh my goodness gracious me. This is so good. This gets like S tier custom card in my opinion, but here's the thing why I put it as number 2. I really like the number 1 for the challenge, but also just because, okay, well, we'll get to it in a second. A little cliffhanger there. Okay, so Gwenpool 2/1 on reveal, change this location to second dinner's dev's room. Okay, so second dinner's dev room is cards are unnerfed when played at this location. Hilarious. That's so good, because Gwenpool's character is all about breaking the wall, and like she can literally leave the comic if she wants, and like she's aware, she has awareness that she's in a comic book. So this is just great. She's aware she's in a video game, and she's aware of the past nerfs in this game. Oh my god, it's so funny. It's so funny. It's so good. And here's the thing. Here's the reason that I put this as number 2. Look at that dino over there. That dino was a 3/0. Can you believe that existed? It had the same ability, +2 power for each card in your hand. That was like easily, you play Moon Girl. She was a 3 cost. You play Moon Girl, and then you get 2 of these dinos. You can play them both on turn 6. It was insane. That's the meta that we actually once upon a time lived in. And that's when everyone just started in beta. It was all Series 1, and everybody was just running dinos everywhere, okay? Could you imagine that you could bring that back knowingly because you're aware of those changes, but some average Joe who literally just picked up the game yesterday doesn't know about 7-10 months ago the nerfs that happened? This pops up and all the cards are changing to these broken balance states. He plays a random card there like Rhino and be like, oh, I hope Rhino got nerfed at some point, and then finds out, oh no it wasn't, and then he destroys the location. That was a brutal example. That was a brutal example, but you get the idea, okay? Anyways, so yeah, it just doesn't really work with the game, but it's hilarious. It's so cool. It's such a good idea. If they ever did like a tavern brawl or something like that, where it's like a certain location is featured and it's just a side, unranked mode, that'd be great. I would love that. But anyways, this is so much fun, guys. I could talk for days about the past balance changes, how the cards have adapted, all the changes that we've gone through. I think a lot of people are not too familiar with the ones from beta because there were big balance changes. This Dino, Moon Girl, those are just a few examples. Okoye was one of the most broken cards. Nova used to be insane. Like, there's just a lot of crazy cards that this could bring back in a way, and it'd be really funny. Imagine bringing a nerfed deck. That's what you name your deck, nerfed. And it's just a bunch of cards who got nerfed over time, and you use Gwenpool to just make them powerful again. Normal leader again, where you copy all the cards on turn 6. Like, the potential here is just crazy. It's so cool. I love the theme, the art, and everything, but it's just not fair to the player base. It's just not fair. So there you go. Anyways, great submission, Fran. You've done it again. Number 1, Right Hand Elves, the Neutral Zone. All right, this is the one I was talking about. This is the one. So the Neutral Zone, this was all about locations. So I really wanted locations to find some very interesting locations. This was the most interesting location to me, the Neutral Zone. Both players have 0 power at this location. I think that's so cool because mine does the same thing. Kaboom, right? If we want to throw back time here, when I was talking about Kaboom, boom, the location is destroyed. Technically, that's 0 power on each side. But here's the thing. You can't play things at Kaboom anymore. It's gone. She gone. Destroyed. The Neutral Zone, you can still actually play cards here. So I can play the Hood, which has -2 power. I get the Demon to my hand. But the Hood can just chill over there. Great. He's not going to affect my overall power output. Fantastic. Maybe I want to save him for later. Maybe I want to play cards there. I want to beast them back to my hand, get little discounts, and then play them elsewhere. Maybe there's just space. Now there's space over there that I can work with, like almost like a workshop space, you know, which I think is fantastic. Here's the best card, though. Here's the best card for this location. I got it. It's easy. It's Quake. Quake, dude. Quake's insane. If I know that the neutral zone is at some point going to be a different location that matters, well, then I'll just Quake and shuffle them around. Then my opponent's going to get neutral zoned, and then I'll have power at the other spot. So like that's just a wild combo to me. But really anything that's location, like Scarlet Witch, Rhino, all these things that can just change it, and all of a sudden the power does matter at that location. Now it's not about just a draw. Now it's about a third location being added to the game, and they do that on turn 6 for a big surprise. Like, this is so freaking cool. It's not just like the Destroy like the Galactus. But hey, we could talk about Galactus too, because here's a cool thing about Galactus. If you use it at the neutral zone and you destroy everything else, time game. We're just setting up a tie. You know what? I don't want to do this one anymore. We're just gonna tie. And there you go. I guess it's good for both sides. You know, the opponent that just got Galactus, they hate that. They're tired of it, tilted by it. But it's like, okay, it's a tie. We'll move on to the next one. So I thought that was kind of funny. But there you go. That's just a few strategies. But I thought this was the coolest location. There were a lot of great submissions, though, this week. You guys crushed it when we opened it up with the location idea. But next week is all about winning, winners, whatever. Get creative with it. There's only a few cards in Snap, like Crossbones, Captain Marvel, and I'm forgetting another one, but Adam Warlock. That's the card. Of course, Adam Warlock. Oh my gosh. There you go. So that's the next week's challenge. I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with. Snap, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and I will catch you guys next time.